So this is just a small update because I told you in one of the last videos that I was working on the wiring on my MX-5, and we are now at the point where actually I wanted to start the car, but I'm not getting a trigger signal, but all of the coils already work and all the injectors already work, which I'm going to show you now. And this is all relatively temporary. I need to wire everything properly and also use fuses and relays, and also only the injectors, the coils and the crank sensors wired up, so nothing more. This would be just to start the car or be able to start the car like for the first time now. Like for example, how did we wire this up? Well, on the injectors it's pretty easy because you actually only have two wires. One of them, the polarity doesn't matter. One of them goes to 12 volt and the other one goes to the injector output of the ECU. So it's only switching the ground side. So that's pretty easy. On these VW calls, we have four wires. Two of them are ground. One of them goes to the battery or to switch 12 volts, and one is the signal wire. So that's also pretty easy. The signal wire just goes to the cylinder output of the ECU. On the crank sensor we have three wires. This is a Hall effect sensor. On VR sensor you have two wires. One of them is 12 volt supply, so that also goes to a 12 volt source. One of them is ground, and that should go to a sensor ground on the ECU, and one of them is the trigger signal, which should go to the signal or like the trigger input of the ECU. On to Tuner Studio now. I have everything wired up temporarily right here just so that I can test it. I can actually crank the car. So my starter is just this thick wire that goes to the starter. That's my main 12 volt source, goes to the starter, and that's just a ground that goes to the engine. So yeah, that's the main ground source. And I can now, if I touch this is the solenoid for the starter. If I touch that to 12 volts, the car will actually crank. So we are that far, and if I want to test the injectors, I can do that here, bench test. I can test injectors. You should be able to hear them. Wait, I'm going to test them now. Or not. So I have now wired everything correctly, and we have RPM when I start the engine. See? Which is good, but my battery seems to be dying. So okay, so just as a completion for this video, basically, what I wanted to show you, how did I wire this, or how did I actually get the car to start for wiring, how did I do the wiring to get the car started, because although it is very basic, this is basically the first steps you have to do to get your car started. It's only like a few wires, but a lot of people already have problems with wiring and they
don't feel comfortable doing anything like this. But it's actually really simple if you start with just the basics, and then you can expand your wiring harness with all the sensors, wire by wire. So it's really actually not that complicated. So we have on the left here our wiring diagram. That's the interactive diagram from RUSEFI itself. So you can find everything basically where you have to wire all your stuff to. So for example, on the first plug, we have all our injector outputs, which we need right now, such as 1 to 6 in this case, but we only need 1 to 4 as we have a 4-cylinder. And then we have our coils 1 to 6 as well, or we also need only 1 to 4. On the RUSEFI, it's a little bit easier because you can just use whatever injector or spark output you want. On a Speeduino ECU, you for example have a given cycle, or you have a given number that you need to use for each output because you can't set them individually. So you will have to use that. You can find what output you need to use for what cylinder in the Speeduino wiki. For this RUSEFI, it's basically pretty simple because you can adjust it after the fact within the software within Tuner Studio. So for injectors, as I said in the video, it's very easy. Every injector has 2 wires, so one goes to 12 volts. So as you can see here, we have 1 wire of each, 2 12 volt. You can all put them together and just do 12 volt. Obviously, this is only preliminary, just to get the car started. Usually you would use either a relay and a fuse. So you would only turn these on with, for example, the ignition switch. So you would use a relay, and then the low side of the relay would be used by, or would be powered by, the ignition switch. This is just to start the car, because there's no safety in this. If this, for example, if like a wire would be cut or open or whatever, you would get a short. But in the future, I will also let you know how to wire it with a relay. It's really not that complicated. This is also my first wiring harness, so that's the first time I'm doing it. So you're basically learning with me, kind of step by step. So this goes to 12 volts, and each injector also has the other pin that is basically the ground side, and the ground side is switched by the ECU. So this is basically how the ECU pulses them. And I just ran injector 1 to injector output number 1, injector 2, injector output number 2, 3 to 3, and 4 to 4. Easy as that. So that's very easy. On the coils, especially on these ones I use, which are NGK red tops, which have 4 wires. So there are 4 individual wires on the coils, and 2 of those, you can find layouts and pinouts of any coil pretty much on the internet. That's not a big deal. 2 of those wires in my case go to ground, and it only needs to see ground. So basically, if you, for example, have your engine grounded to your body and the battery grounded to the body, then you can also just ground the coils to the body or the engine. In my case, I just do it this way because then you know these ground wires, which are 2 of them, just go to ground. Then these coils each have a 12 volt supply that basically is switched with ignition, the same as the 12 volt with the injectors. So that goes to constant 12 volts, so that the coils actually, that's where they get their power from. And then there is a signal wire which goes to each output from the ECU. So again, we have coil number 1 goes to output number 1, 2 to 2, 3 to 3, and 4 to 4. This basically tells the coil, because those coils are smart coils, so to say, and this input to the coil tells the coil when or how long to open, and the ECU tells them that, and that also tells them, or tells which one and where to open, whatever. So that's basically the wiring for your coils and injectors. And the only other thing that we need is the crank sensor. So given though you have a missing tooth trigger wheel. Because, for example, as in a toothed wheel that doesn't have a missing tooth or something, the ECU wouldn't know where top dead center is and stuff. So you would at least need a missing tooth trigger signal or a two sensors, so a crank sensor and a cam sensor. But in most cases, when you're using a standalone ECUs, you're going to use a missing tooth wheel. So we are using our crank sensor. In our case, it's a Hall effect sensor, so it has 3 wires. A VR sensor only has 2 wires and only goes to a different output. That would be VR plus and VR minus. That's even easier. And that are the pins right here. So VR1 plus and VR1 minus. That would be where you would wire that. The Hall effect sensor, on the other hand, is a little bit different. It has 3 wires. 1 wire is for plus 12 volt because it has to generate basically its own magnetic field inside the sensor, and that's why it needs 12 volt. And then it has a ground wire, but that ground wire does not actually go to the battery or chassis ground. That actually goes to the sensor ground within the ECU. While you could wire that to a normal ground, you can have issues with sync loss or generally signal loss, which you obviously don't want because it can cause massive issues with RPM and stuff. So wire that to sensor ground within the ECU. And then the last thing we have is the trigger signal. So Hall input basically from the signal that goes into here. And that is actually it. That would be able to start your car. While you'd have to look out for in Tuner Studio that none of your values are a lot out of range or whatever, because obviously we don't have any sensors connected, so they would have very high resistance. So your, for example, coolant temperature, intake air temperature would look very low. Obviously, you would have to adjust your map accordingly, and that's what I'm going to show you now, because we obviously don't have any other sensors connected. Alright, and from Tuner Studio, we will just have to look at our ignition and VE table, because obviously we don't have a map sensor connected and we don't have a TPS sensor connected. So we'd have to look if our TPS sensor is actually at 0%. What you can do then is, or what you can do is you can just calibrate your TPS and calibrate it to show 0 while it's not plugged in. That's pretty easy. So you can at least start the car. You will not be able to rev it probably, but it will at least work for the time being. And to start it and see if it runs smoothly, if it runs on all cylinders, etc. What I also can show you is how to test your injectors. Is you go to controller, bench test, and here you can test your injectors. If you are testing your coils, make sure that the on time is relatively low, below 2 or 3 milliseconds. That's enough for the time, or for the on time, to check if they're working. The injectors doesn't really matter that much, but if you already have fuel pressure, you also have to look out for that, because they will be injecting fuel if your fuel pump is working. Because the fuel pump, I didn't cover that because you can wire your fuel pump yourself, and it doesn't have to be in the ECU now. Then we have on base engine, we need to select if we are going to use no sensors for now. For the startup, we need to use Alpha N, because Alpha N is basically just with TPS and RPM. And then also on ignition, you can also just select timing mode fixed. Then it will always be at 10 degrees. That would be easiest, because then you don't need to set up your timing map. So like 10 degrees, that's like idle on most cars. And what you also need to do, you need to assume your trigger angle. So basically, if you look on the front of your pulley, put your crank pulley to top dead center, or like your engine to top dead center. And if you have your missing tooth trigger wheel, the angle, how much you have to turn your crank until the first tooth after the missing tooth hits the crank sensor, that is the angle of degrees you have to put in here. For example, on my case, how I mounted my trigger wheel was about 170 degrees, because when my engine was at top dead center, I had to turn the crank about 170 degrees until the first tooth after the missing teeth was hitting the or was at the crank sensor again, and then it should be able to start up, though you may have to fiddle around with the fuel coolant and the cranking settings for a bit, maybe, because your sensors are not calibrated and you don't have any sensors on. Obviously your engine might inject too much or not enough fuel. You can obviously, if you just put the fuel to 1, so it does inject the same amount of fuel no matter what temperature, you can help it with some starter spray to start up. That's pretty easy. So that's also a little trick how you can get your engine started. And if you confirm that it runs on all cylinders and stuff, you can continue your wiring job. So that's basically just the easy and most basic settings you will have to use, or basic wiring you'll have to do to get your engine started. I will do some other videos on wiring in the future and explain further, but for now that is how far my project is. Okay, I have wired some more stuff, but I will actually finish my wiring until I can show you everything I did after. That's it from me. I wish you a nice day and goodbye.